All right, you ready for the breaking news?
I'm ready. Yeah. I'm on the edge
Okay.
of my seat.
Another Susan Slus. Gosh, she's been working her rear end off.
Look at this.
Susan just reported Brandon Belt will be signing a 1-year deal with the Blue Jays.
No.
Deal will be
Wow.
announced tomorrow.
That's a tough one for Giants fans. That's a tough one for us, man. How do you feel? How do you feel as you're I think of when I think of the Belt Wars, I think of you as a 5-star general on the good side of the Belt Wars.
There are two lieutenants with me in the Belt Wars. One is as I've mentioned her before, my good friend Ashley Payne, who unfortunately is not on Twitter very much anymore, but her family is on our Giants Facebook page. I think
Yes.
I think like both of her parents and her sister, though, because I've been kicked off of Facebook for who knows how long. I
Are
haven't
you
seen
still off
any
of
of it.
it?
I'm still off of Facebook.
God.
They will not give me a reason. They will not return emails. I don't know what's going on. It's pretty
Uh,
lousy customer service, that's for sure. But
yeah.
Ashley Payne was with me in the beginning. Like I sort of kind of jumped on the bandwagon with her just because I saw how many people were frustrated with him. And so we were just kind of like tag teaming all of these people on Twitter. And then the NBC Sports Bay Area zone, Carmen Q, also leading one of the trains on Team Belt. And so the three of us, I feel like we were pretty much on top of it when it came to being Team Belt. So as far as as far as how I feel about it, I think I'm happy that Belt kind of was able to have that one really good year during the pandemic, which is it showed basically what he could do when he's healthy. And then, of course, he gets that screwy injury late trying to bunt and ball gets thrown and hits him in the thumb. And last year is just unfortunate. It's just what happens when some of these guys get older. They can't stay. They can't stay without getting these weird dinged up injuries. And we know that he has a bad
Yeah.
knee. So all of that is like, hey, he's just an aging player. He has 2 World Series titles, he's been on 2 World Series title teams. So he's had a really good career. Now, I think the question for a lot of Giants fans is, should he have been better than who he actually was? And I think he's probably exactly who he was always going to be. He had like 3 really, really good seasons. He had a couple of like solid seasons, and then he had his bad seasons where he couldn't shake the injuries. So I think he was a really, really good Giant. Maybe at some point if he goes to Toronto on a 1 year, he has a good season and he wants to come back. Maybe the Giants will be like, hey, we have a spot at first. If you want to come back and hang out and retire as a Giant, I could see something like that happen. But happy for him. He can finally go to somewhere where he can DH regularly, because even when he played these last couple of years, he mostly still played first base. He
Yeah.
doesn't have to worry about getting dinged up, injured, and such. By playing the field so much, and I hope he can play in some of those short porches in the American League and get a couple extra dingers out of it, right? He
Oh,
doesn't have to
yeah.
play his whole
Yeah.
his home games at a park that's a little bit harder to hit home runs for
Yeah.
someone like him.
Brandon Belt playing in Boston is going to be interesting. But playing at Yankee Stadium, at Camden Yards, I mean, that's going to be fun. That's going to be some fun games to watch. And the thing that people always forget and will always thank Brandon Belt for is that when Aubrey Huff had his issues and disappeared, Brandon Belt was there. And so Brandon Belt is a two-ringer, because anytime you talk about the Giants, anytime from 2008 up to 2014, 2015, how many ringers are they? Brandon Belt's a two-ringer.
Yep.
So, I mean, we'll always love him for that. He was on the 2012, 2014 championship teams. Gonna miss him. I love the guy. Everybody gave him crap, but you know what? defensively, that was the one thing that was overlooked a lot too. Defensively, he was solid at first base. He had some fantastic picks. Definitely going to miss that. I hate to see it. I just hate to see him on the East Coast, though. I was hoping he'd stick around, at least, go to the Rangers with Bochy. But
yeah, that would have been fun.
Yeah, that would have been a blast because we would all have become American League
Quasi Texas Rangers fans. Yeah,
quasi tech. Because I've been, and don't say it too loud, but I've always been a quasi Mariners fan and a quasi Guardians fan, Indians back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But those are kind of my teams. So if he would have gone to one of those, especially Seattle, I would have been ecstatic. But
yeah, I think you mentioned his defense early in his career when his body and his athletic ability was still there. He was really good at first base. He had a really good arm. And like you said, he could pick it. As the years went by, like these last couple years, he did not have a lot of range there like he did when he was younger. And I think you could just see him sometimes just out there just going like, and running the bases too, right? Like he's
Right,
never going to be fast, but early in his career, this long-legged dude. And then these last couple years, he's like the slowest guy on the team.
Yeah, and when he ran the bases, you knew something bad could possibly happen. Yeah. And it did. It did in Anaheim. It did in Anaheim. I mean, it did. Yeah, it was just tough to watch. I mean, so now we're looking at Lamont Wade Jr. It's official. I mean, we're looking at Lamont Wade Jr. at first base. And who else can we get at first base? I don't want to see, too much of Wilmer at first base, but I think we will. JD Davis could play first base.
Would you rather Wilmer play first base or any other part of the infield, though?
Yeah, first base. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
Oh man. Okay, so yeah, it's a sad one, but hey, this is a live show, baby. We had to break the news to everybody who was not paying attention to Twitter.